And on to the details now. U.S. President Donald Trump declared America is back on Tuesday in his first address to Congress since returning to power, hailing his radical social and economic policies. Well, Donald Trump began his first address to a joint session of Congress after taking office with a three-word message: America is back. Taking a victory lap, Trump wasted no time touting his electoral victory during his address to a joint address to Congress on Tuesday, claiming that his win gave him a mandate like has not been seen in many decades.
The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again.
Well, much like his 2024 campaign, Trump used Tuesday's speech to talk about securing the U.S.-Mexico border and the executive orders he issued, including deploying military members to the area.
Immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control. They have total control over a whole nation, posing a grave threat to our national security. The cartels are waging war in America, and it's time for America to wage war on the cartels, which we are doing.
Also, President Trump gave Elon Musk and the newly created Department of Government Efficiency a shout out in his address to a joint session of Congress on Tuesday.
Under the Trump administration, all of these scams, and they're far worse, but I didn't think it was appropriate to talk about them. They're so bad. Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud. And we've taken back the money.
Well, Trump also announced his plans to implement reciprocal tariffs in the near future on several countries. The U.S. will raise its tariff rate for goods from another country to whatever that country's levies on U.S. products from April 2nd.
Tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much.
Also, Trump listed what he calls as bold actions, including sweeping funding freezes and renaming the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. He says there will be tax cuts for everybody and promises to balance the federal budget. Trump said on Tuesday that Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, had told him Kyiv was ready for talks with Russia and U.S. minerals deal days after a White House clash. Also, it was the longest ever address to a joint session of Congress by any U.S. president, clocking in at more than 1 hour and 40 minutes. Republican Trump's speech beat the previous record set by Democratic President Bill Clinton in his State of the Union address in the year 2000.
Is the most successful.
And for more, we have Anil Thomas joining us. Well, Anil, Trump began his speech by declaring America is back. What do you make of Trump's assertion that his administration had accomplished more in 6 weeks than most do in years? How do you think this claim holds up?
Well, good morning, Lipakshi. Well, very much true to the word, if one may say so. You know, that's been his poll promise. That's been what Trump has been trying to do in 2.2 in the last 43 days of him controlling or, running America. And I think to a very large extent, if you look at the speech that he's made, there are many perceived achievements that he speaks about, many ways in which he talks about how America is going to be great again. Also looking at the way ahead on how, without much of investment, he's managed to get trillions of dollars into the country in terms of investments promised or investments signed on the dotted line. And also with regards to immigration, when it comes to other issues on how to help America bounce back, especially when it comes to tariff being used as a negotiating tool by Trump to the best possible way. I think he's made some inroads in especially making the world sit up and notice about the unpredictability that he brings to the table. But having said that, there is also, there are many things that he's many things that he said in his speech which were bereft of facts, which sometimes, gave a feel that he got carried away, especially with the behavior that the opposition, that's the Democrats, the way they behaved in the House. But all in all, if one takes a look at this particular 100-minute speech, which is the longest, which beats the record that was set by, way back in '93 by Bill Clinton, and also surpassing the longest speech that he made in 2017. This is the longest, but it's a great achievement for him purely in terms of substance and word. But how does it get rolled out is something that we'll have to wait and watch, because these are still initial days of his ruling. But this is something that goes well, where the world has taken stock of it, and the world is, sitting up with attention, listening to every word that Trump has to say for America and the world.
Absolutely. Also, Anil, Trump's comments on tariffs and trillions of dollars coming, as you just mentioned also, America also have drawn attention. How do you think the economic impact of these tariffs will be felt across various countries, and what about their long-term effectiveness?
Well, tariffs is something that I mentioned is a negotiating tool that he has used, and he's used it well. Wherever he's tried, he's managed to get maximum returns. There is a likelihood that Justin Trudeau might have a conversation with Trump tomorrow. Volodymyr Zelensky, after that big Oval visit and the breakdown of talks, suddenly has written a letter to Trump indicating that he would need Trump for some logical conclusions to the conflict that's taking place between Russia and Ukraine. He's managed to get a ceasefire, especially in the Israel-Hamas strikes that began on October 7th the year before. But so, there are tangible outcomes that he's managed to do. Can he do more? Is something that we're looking forward to, because when he came to power, he said both these conflicts are going to be over within 24 hours. So it's 43 days, the conflict is still on. We're looking at some light at the end of the horizon, but we've still not got to a logical conclusion when it comes to, ceasefire being followed and this particular conflict ending and the world looking for a better future. But also, having said all this, when it comes to investments or businesses that have come into America, there is a likelihood of 1.7 trillion worth of business that's already been inked, according to Trump in a speech, which includes 200 billion that SoftBank has promised, 500 billion that Google and OpenAI have done, 165 billion from a Taiwanese semiconductor company that Trump has indicated. These are investments that have come into America without much of giveaways that Trump says he has done. So purely in terms of tariffs, he's managed to do that well as a negotiating tool. And I think he's spoken about many countries that could face the brunt of this particular tariffs that would come into play, that would roll on the 2nd of April. But I think, countries need to approach this particular tariff fear with a Trump-proof plan that needs to come into play. I think the world realizes that this is something that Trump is going to bring to the table time and again. So you need to create a Trump-proof, trade or a Trump-proof somewhere, a pact that comes into play. And that could be your big saving point. And I think the world understands that, and the world would be looking at that options. There is no need for knee-jerk reactions that countries would get affected by this. They will have to find ways in which to absorb the shock and maybe look at, coming back to the negotiating table and look at ways in which it can be explored, or look at other countries which are similarly affected and maybe look at a window of, having new trade partners for the near future. But if you have a retaliatory position that many countries have decided to take, I think Trump acts even tougher. So that's something that could be counterproductive. But something that the world needs to notice is that we need to create a Trump-proof kind of trade plan in place if you want to survive the next 4 years.
Also, Anil, if given Trump's remarks on Greenland and his ongoing interest in acquiring it for national security purposes, how do you think this aligns with his broader foreign policy objectives, and what implications could it have for US-Denmark relations especially?
Well, it's something that, that's not only Greenland, he's also spoken about the canal that he wants to take over.
Right.
And, data that's been presented or data that's been thrown in the speech, that right, left and center, which looked, facts were, just off the table. He spoke about how 38,000 Americans had lost their life in the building of the canal. When you actually look at data, it's close to less than 10,000 people who lost their lives in building that canal. When it comes to Greenland, these are all claims that he's made. Remember, these are all perceived achievements that Trump is talking about that he plans to do in the future. How does he take it to a logical conclusion is something that we've still not understood. Or, from the time he's made, many countries have come ahead and offered a similar kind of counter purchase offer, saying that we are ready to buy this from America, we are ready to buy that from America. Yes, it's a tough call that he's taken, especially when it comes to expanding his borders, is also with indicating that Canada is the 51st state of America that he did, and Justin Trudeau brushed it aside. But this is something that Trump is going to use time and again. It's not that anybody is going to be off the radar. Anybody who's going to be in that same hemisphere that America is, you are in the threat of these kind of regular surprises that Trump could throw at you. I think countries have realized that this is heavy lifting that Trump is doing, but heavy lifting, does it have substance, is something that we'll have to wait and watch. But Trump once again reiterating all that he said, especially when it comes to Greenland, Panama Canal, and also Canada, is clearly reflective of the mood that he is in. You better watch out, because this is Trump 2.0. This is unlike the Democrats' era where things could be hunky-dory. This is where America is going to act tough, because America wants to be great again.
All right. Thank you so much, Anil, for all those insights from there.